At any given moment, a life can change forever. Sometimes it's for good, sometimes it's for bad, but it is how you handle that change that's really the true test. Here's this week's In Search Of report.
Melrose, Wisconsin is one of those small towns where everybody knows everybody. And everybody knows 19-year-old Nick Dobbs. Seen here in green, Nick was a standout athlete for Melrose Mindoro High School. A smart kid, a leader.
Nick Dobbs was probably the most thoughtful, concerned, and considerate student, that a person could be, caring and compassionate.
And like everyone else in this quiet town, Nick Dobbs knew the rural roads like the back of his hand. He knew that at the end of his driveway stood the long grass and tall August corn that virtually blocked his view. But he also knew the road that intersects was rarely traveled. So when he hopped on his motorcycle, strapped his helmet on, and headed to work on August 11th, 2011, he knew this day, just like every other day, no one would be sharing the road with him. But what he didn't know is fate had other plans that day.
It was a day none of us will ever forget.
911, state emergency.
Tractor versus motorcycle on Red School Road.
Nick's aunt, Jana, was the first to get the word.
A friend of mine actually called me. He has a pager and heard that there was a motorcycle accident on Red School Road. I knew it was Nick. He's the only one on that road with a motorcycle.
Yes, we need the Melrose first responders plus an ambulance.
It was actually a tractor and a hay wagon. The tractor swerved to actually miss hitting Nick, and Nick hit the front of the hay wagon.
Nick was flown to a nearby hospital as Jana tried desperately to get a hold of his mom.
I was at work and I was just, it was my last client of the day, and my sister kept calling me, and I told my client, I said, I have to take this call, and that's when she told me that Nick was in a motorcycle accident. And of course, the worst things go through your mind, and she said he's alive.
At first, they were hopeful after hearing witnesses say he was moving around, trying to get up.
And then by the time we got down there, they realized the extent of his injuries.
I remember when they came in and told us that that it didn't look good. I felt like I was on one of those TV shows where your family is sitting in a waiting room and the doctors come in to give you the news, and kind of felt like a dream. And when his heart stopped the first time, that's when it really kind of hit me that this is really, really, this is serious.
Nick's spine was shattered. Doctors knew his legs were paralyzed, but held out hope he'd have some arm and lung function.
But swelling and things like that proceeded upward on Nick's spine.
It was a couple of days after that when all the other problems started setting in, where they had to intubate him and, put him on a vent that, he's probably be on for the rest of his life, so.
It took a while to realize what was going on. I do remember saying to my mom once that I haven't been able to move my arms in a while. And she's like, you haven't moved your arms since you've been here.
The first time Nick was conscious with me, he looked up and his words were, "Coach, I can't move my arms."
To think a healthy 21-year-old would be paralyzed it was scary, sad. It was hard to deal with. Sorry.
Nick spent months in the hospital trying to figure out how to live in a body that no longer works.
Jonah.
He now uses a special wheelchair that he can operate with his mouth. He can also control the television and is able to access the internet. But this is a life that is admittedly frustrating.
Just needing so much help from everybody else. I absolutely hate it. Because before all this, I was pretty independent. I didn't like going to others for help if I absolutely didn't need it. And now, pretty much need help for everything. Getting out of bed, watching movies, going outside.
Okay. But what is so remarkable about this young man is how positive he remains, given this unimaginable situation.
I should have died right there at the accident scene, but I mean, I'm still here. I mean, what's to feel sorry about? I got family, I got friends, I still got my girlfriend. I mean, I guess I got things actually pretty good right now.
But in a small town where everybody knows everybody, everybody is eager to rally around their hometown boy. And the chain of events that happens next is proof that although Nick may never stand again, he will also never stand alone.
Well, let me tell you something. You want to know about fate. What happens next in this story is truly fate in the making, because it's one thing that set off this chain of events that led to another thing that led to another thing, and what results is literally a gift to Nick that changes his life. And we're going to follow that process next week. So you got to make sure to tune in right here on News 8 This Morning next Friday morning to see the next part of our In Search of story.